What is going on, Doom fans? It's your boy Glock, and today I'm happily bringing you guys my tips and my tricks that I use as I play Marauder in the battle mode. Now, I'm really excited to bring you guys this because this is hands down my favorite demon. This demon right here is a pressure powerhouse, bro. His whole thing is stay on top of the Slayer, don't let him get away, and summon my puppers. This demon is actually very straightforward. It doesn't really take a lot to master him. I mean, like, honestly, it's just very simple. You stay on top of the Slayer, and you got to kind of understand your disengaging, because the things that you're going to be weak to is the detonating mod for the rocket launcher. You're going to be weak to the ballista. You're going to be weak to super shotgun. You're going to be weak to hose weapons. You really don't want to just literally constantly stay on top of them until you see that you have them like overwhelmed. But you know, you're going to have to learn those disengagements. Those disengagements are going to be very important, and it's going to make you a AAA, a S tier Marauder if you really learn how to kind of, in a way, not to sound cliche, but move like water. You want to be able to adapt to any situation right on the fly, just as a Doomslayer is. You're literally the demonic version of the Slayer. I want to start with Perk Selection first. It doesn't matter if you play for pressure, if you play for, you know, defense. It doesn't matter which one you pick, because the principle of the Marauder will always stay the same. I personally picked the loadout that allows you to heal, and then I combined that with the Perk Selection for Best Friend and for a bigger bar. Now, the reason why I go Best Friend is because if you pick the loadout that gives you the heal ability, you also get to armor yourself, right? If you armor yourself and then having Best Friend, when your dog attacks a Slayer, I think it gives you a 25% resistance to damage. On top of that, with armor, is a really crazy thing. Now, you combine all that safety with bigger bar, giving you an additional 500 health points, and you're like a tank. So between pressure and range, it all depends on what you want to go for. So pressure has your Maker Drone, your Hell Knight, Armored, Healing Zone, and Block Loot. Of course, every demon has Block Loot, right? That's the main one that I play. Is I play pressure, because again, the armor, even though armor is on range, you also get the armor and you get healing. I think healing as a demon is really important, because we don't have the same resources unless you use the that one ability. What is it called? I think it's called Thieving Hand. And bigger bar, I guess, are your best healing options. That and Team Heal. Team Heal is actually one of my go-tos. It's actually the only third perk I use as a demon, because again, it heals 50% of your health and 25% of your teammates' health. It's super dope. That's all it is. I don't know. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. We're gonna go pressure, right, for the loadout, and for our perk selection, it's gonna be Best Friend, bigger bar, and Team Heal. And what you want to do is, whenever you get the opportunity to pick your best friend, you call it your dog. When the dog attacks the Slayer, you get an increase of damage reduction, and then you get armor on top of that, which takes you 50% less damage, lasts for 4 seconds, right? And then you get a chance to heal yourself. So how you want to basically play this whole situation is, while you have your dog and your armor, you become aggressive, right? Whenever you start taking hits, because he's going to hit you, right? Like, you're going to just use that armor like to the best of your ability. Get you a few hits in, and then you're going to back off. Go and you're going to heal, right? You're going to heal, and hopefully your teammate can kind of like take his, like, you know, his Argo for a little bit, and then you're going to go right back into it. The main thing that you want to focus on when you're playing the Marauder, again, is just like keeping track of the Slayer at all times, staying on top of them. You really only want to heal if you have to. You know what I mean? Like, if, say for example, your armor wears off and your best friend, because Best Friend lasts for 3 seconds, the armor lasts for 4 seconds, right? So even if it all wears off, if you can continuously just stay on top of them, that would be great. Never forget that you can summon that dog. Summon that dog as much as you can. It has a pretty decently fast cooldown, but the dog does big boy damage. What I personally found is the dog is even better for whenever the Slayer is trying to get away from you, because you have your hatchet, but your hatchet it's like a tomahawk from Call of Duty, or like a throwing knife or anything like that. It takes a lot of precision, and you're going to probably miss a lot of the direct hits, which is where the most damage comes from. And your shotgun is obviously a shotgun. It's only good for when it's at close range, but it's not as effective as a super shotgun. So even like mid range isn't going to be as effective. You're going to do like 2-3 damage a shot. So you're going to really want to use that best friend to kind of like keep up the pressure even when he's getting away from you. Because I think as a whole, I'm not very sure who's faster, the Marauder or the Doomslayer, but I find myself more often losing to Doomslayer. And I think whenever your intention is to be aggressive, it's easier for someone to confuse you. So if the Doomslayer jumps up and then jumps backwards, you're more prone to keep chasing and moving forward, and now he's behind you. So in a sense, if you get in a position where you can't keep up, the dog is pretty much your Hail Mary, right? You call it your dog and he's going to handle that situation for you. That, or to double up and use it for your best friend, use your armor and get that shotgun and just go balls deep. The worst situation you'll find yourself in as a Marauder is a situation where you're at range. The fact that you have a shotgun and a utensil that you have to throw, which moves basically the equivalent of the Mancubus's cannon, right? Probably a little bit slower, maybe just slightly faster, but regardless, it's really hard to use at a range. You're going to want to try to close gaps as much as you possibly can. You're going to want to try to go through and just like meet the Slayer halfway or predict his path and try to cut him off, right? Just because the Slayer runs in a circle, which is what they usually do, they usually run in circles, either big circles or small circles, but predict their path and try to intercept them as much as possible. And if you can, get behind them first. Fighting a Slayer face to face when you're directly in his field of vision, that's usually not good, especially if he's holding like a heavy hitter. But a lot of that is just situational, right? Like if it seems right to you, if you see, okay, I can get in front of him, go for it. Like I said, don't overthink these things. Like I said before, these are just like tips, things to bear in mind. There is no definitive way. I don't care how many guys or what guide you watch. There is no definitive way to beat a person, because at the end of the day, that boils down to how their playstyle is. And I cannot cover every possible playstyle. That's not even possible. You know what I mean? So this is very subjective, and it's more like in the moment. If you want to become aggressive and you see the opportunity, if it feels right, if you and your teammates synergy is perfect, right? Let's say, for example, right? Let's get some examples. You got a Revenant. Revenant goes through and uses his rockets, right? And he uses rockets. You come back and you double down with your dog, pop your best friend, right? Goes to your armor. On top of that rocket damage, you're doing consistent shotgun damage. More than likely, the Doomslayer is going to try to get away, so he's not going to look up. At some point, he's going to see you, right? He starts shooting you, but now his health is low and he's scared. Now he's not reacting out of confidence. He's reacting out of, I need to get out of the situation. That's the moment that you want, right? You want that particular moment where he's trying to get out of there, because that's when you say that heavy pressure, you keep him taking damage, it's going to keep him just like trying to get up out of that situation. It's going to make him uncomfortable, and you're going to inevitably get the kill, because he's not trying to kill you, he's trying to get away from you. And that's the position you want to put him in. And the Marauder is the best for punishing that, because if you ignore the Marauder, he's going to kill you. Marauders, just be aware of your demon matchup. If you're going to have a Mancubus on your team or a Pain Elemental, you're more than likely going to take a big portion of damage. I found the common strategy for beefy targets is that they want to kill the weakest one last, so they'll get your health low, right? And let's say the Pain Elemental, right? They're going to try to kill the Pain Elemental because he's going to take a lot of the work. Get your health real low, and then once they kill that Pain Elemental, they're coming for you. So you have to be able to think ahead of the game. And full circle, it's like I said, be like water. See the situation, match up with it, and just align your next strategy for it. But just keep in mind your tools. Keep in mind that you got best friend, you got armor, you got bigger bar, you have more health, and you're pretty much defended the whole entire time. Keep in mind that you can heal yourself if you run the according loadout. Huge shout out to Joseph. He comes through my comments often, and he drops some very insightful paragraphs about how to play these demons for things that usually I haven't touched up on or haven't elaborated fully on. And I really do appreciate him, so I'm looking forward to seeing you in the comment section and dropping some jewels about the Marauder. But Joseph did do something in the last comment that had me kind of rethinking some things that I can do better for my videos. And so to follow up with what Joseph helped me out with, I'm going to give out some synergies. So I think that Marauder Pain Elemental, Marauder and Archvile, Marauder Revenant, and Marauder Mancubus are the best ways that I think you can play it, even though it's basically every demon but a Marauder. And the only reason why I don't like Marauder matchups is because, like, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I've seen some Marauder gangbangs that have went really wrong. Like, I've been in positions where two Marauders have ripped me to pieces, but that's also very subjective. If both players aren't on tune with how to put pressure and when to disengage, they're more than likely going to die. And a lot of the times, because the Slayer isn't really equipped, if you run Marauder against a solid Slayer and there's nothing to distract the Slayer from both you guys, things with AoEs like rocket launchers or ballistas, they're going to really hurt you guys. They're going to really hurt you guys. I mean, you can put that pressure on them all day long, but keep in mind, your shotgun is not the Doomslayer shotgun. That shotgun's going to hurt you. You can't get armor back. The Doomslayer gets armor back, and I believe that his armor has to go away first before he takes health damage. So all that combined, you guys stay on top of him. He goes flamethrower, he uses a hose weapon, gets all the armor off of you. Now he's just gaining and gaining off of you as you're just trying to attack and catch up. And you're going to end up losing an endurance battle against a Doomslayer. I don't care what you got going on. It's going to be really tough. But even then, like I said, there's some people who can just pull it off. But again, these aren't definitive ways to play the Marauder. This isn't like the bottom line, the only way to do it. If you find something that works for you, by all means tell me some strategies that you discovered in the comment section down below. But this is just what I do and some advice that I can give people who are either struggling with Marauder or just looking for some more insight with the Marauder. And one last tip before I head out. So the Marauder's crosshair, the left and right is the width of how the shotgun bullets will travel. and the middle one is how the axe is going to travel, right? So that middle one is just a straight line, and if you line that up, you're more than likely going to get the axe to go exactly where you threw it at. The axe doesn't have a lot of drop, so whenever you throw it, it's more than likely going to be exactly where you're aiming at. And I think it's lined up to the center, like the very top middle. So the top of that line is where the axe is going to land. From just from my experiences, I don't think there's a lot of drop off, but that's how I kind of gauge where the axe is going to go and how I use the crosshair to aim with the axe. And your shotgun does have a little bit of, I guess you can call, a perfect range. So if you can get close enough to the Slayer to where all the pellets from the shotgun hit, you will do 10 to I think 11 damage. It's 10 or 11. It's in that ballpark, right? And I'm counting the critical, right? You can do huge damage per shot if you can find that perfect range, and it's pretty close. If you get close range with that gun, it will do tremendous numbers. Mid range, it has a dramatic drop off. You'll end up doing like 6 to 5 damage. But if you get close to him, like really close, and you can stay and land like 3 shots, you're gonna like rip his armor. Like it's gonna be bad for him. So again, stay on top of the Slayer, use that shotgun, double that up with best friend, and there you have it. That's all I gotta say, you guys. Again, if there's anybody who's more knowledgeable over the Marauder than I am, teach me and the community together by jumping in the comment section and telling us some tips, bro. I'm always reading, I'm always looking, and I'm looking forward to you guys' insight. If you guys are new, drop a sub, and if you check the pinned comment out, we have a Discord, we have a Doom only area. So if you guys are big Doom fans, want to come and kick with my people, hey, hop on in, we there. It's been your boy Glock. You guys stay safe, God bless y'all, and thank y'all for coming through. See you guys next time.